Nathan Zegura here at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, where the Browns fall to 1-3 this season, losing 20-16 to the Raiders in a game that, quite frankly, they should have won. And unfortunately, the story feels all too familiar. The Browns' sloppy, self-inflicted wounds, and then an opportunity late to overcome it and win the game, and yet they could not. This one started off great, just like the Giants game. The Browns took their opening possession down the field for a touchdown. Deshaun Watson, 7 of 7 on that drive, hit Blake White hard for a touchdown. It was 7-0 Browns. The defense forced a 3-and-out. The Browns would get a field goal. It would be 10-0 Browns, but then things would bog down and things would go south in a hurry. The Browns, over the next couple of quarters, would allow 20 unanswered points by the Raiders. The Raiders came into this game as the worst rushing attack in the NFL. They had just 51 yards per game. Well, week 4 against the Cleveland Browns, they ran for more yards than they had run for in the first 3 games combined. Gardner Minshew was under 150 yards passing, didn't throw a touchdown, and yet the Browns did not win this game. The Raiders were able to run it. They had 2 wide receivers run in touchdowns, and that's how they were able to build their lead, 20-10. Now, the Browns, when I talked about self-inflicted wounds, what do I mean? Well, early in the game, actually more kind of in the middle of the game, Deshaun Watson found Amari Cooper open. Should have been about a 25-yard gain. He threw one of the best passes he's thrown all season. Hit Amari right in the number 2, popped off of his shoulder pads into the air, intercepted by the Raiders. They would go on to score. The Browns had a roughing the passer penalty that extended a drive that allowed the Raiders to go on to score. And yet the Browns were still in this game. Why? Because the defense late made a big play. They got a forced fumble, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah knocking it out into Dalvin Tomlinson's hands, then it bounced around to Rodney McLeod's hands, and they were taking it to the house. So they get a defensive touchdown. It's 20-16. The always reliable Dustin Hopkins misses the extra point, and that would loom large. So now it's still a 4-point deficit for the Browns. They'd have 2 opportunities in the fourth quarter to erase that deficit. On the first, it looked like they did. Deshaun Watson stepped up in the pocket, hit Amari Cooper for an 82-yard touchdown. The Browns had the lead, but a penalty took that one off the board. Much like a penalty took an interception off the board against the Giants that could have changed the outcome of that game, a penalty takes this touchdown off the board as Nick Harris was called for holding. And then you get it back. You get another opportunity. The Browns get it all the way down inside the red zone. And on the first down, Nick Harris snaps it before Deshaun was ready, off his hands. They lose 7 yards. They get it all the way to 4th and 3. Game on the line. They are unable to convert. Deshaun Watson got sacked once again. Drop passes, ill-timed penalties, missed extra points, drop passes that become turnovers. The story of the Browns, self-inflicted wounds and an inability to overcome them in the fourth quarter, and that's why this team finds itself at a crossroads. 1-3 after losing back-to-back games that, quite frankly, they should have won. They were favored to win, and yet they did not. This offense only put 10 points on the board today. The Browns offense still has not produced 300 yards, 200 yards passing, or 20 points in a single game. Every team that had played the Raiders had scored 20 points against them, including Carolina, who's over 30 a week ago. So things are not right there. The defense still giving up too much, though. They got their part done with that touchdown, but a disappointing loss for the Cleveland Browns, who are at 1-3 now, not where they wanted to be after 4 games.